Arts. Okay, good. People moving their hands. Great. So my name is Thomas Logan, and today my presentation is about inspiring accessibility solutions from today's virtual reality experiences. So the reality is that uh, when I talk about accessibility, I'm talking about access for people with disabilities. And if you look at a lot of the titles that exist um, inside of this technology, they don't actually work for people with disabilities. So the point of this conversation is to show you companies and show you projects that actually have support and done work to consider people with disabilities and hopefully become patterns that lots of people implement inside of their applications. Slide. So I'm coming to you today from Tokyo, Japan. It's my morning on Friday here, and this is something I love about virtual reality, that we can all join from wherever we are coming from inside of the world. So I have been living in Japan for the last year and a half, and this virtual reality topic has been one of my core passions. My company, Equal Entry, also works on accessibility for websites, mobile applications, digital kiosks. So we basically want to work on any type of technology and make sure that it's accessible and available to everyone. Slide. So now we're going to dive right in. I'm very demonstration-based presenter, and I just want to show you examples of things that have inspired me inside of virtual reality. So the first feature we're going to do, hopefully this video plays. Let's see, this is from Vacation Simulator, and it may not be playing, but this video, or Vacation Simulator, is one of the most popular titles in virtual reality. It's made by Alchemy Labs, which was acquired by Google. And what they did in Vacation Simulator, they have another game called Job Simulator. The idea of the game is you can virtually experience these things that used to happen in the real world. And the idea of the game was, in 2040 or 2060, like sometime in the future, people might not understand that humans used to work at a convenience store, or humans used to go to the beach and play beach volleyball. So the idea of the game is kind of cute, that it's sort of supposed to be in the future and teaching people how our lives were today. And so what's very interesting in this game is they've added this captioning feature, and in the slide, it's kind of faint, but there's a pointer for the captions. And so inside of virtual reality, if you have closed captioning, you need to actually know who is speaking. And because you can turn around in like 360 degrees inside of virtual reality, if you were just only reading the captions, you don't necessarily know who those captions should be associated with. So something very cool in Vacation Simulator is there's a pointer to tell you which way to turn your head. So if the pointer's pointing to the right, it's saying, hey, the person that's speaking is like over to the right, and you move your head. Once you're looking at the person that's speaking, the pointer goes away. If the person that was speaking is on your left, there'll be a pointer on the left-hand side, and you turn to your left, and you look at the person on the left. This is kind of meta, since we're here in AltSpace and using like a new captioning feature. This feature inside of AltSpace is also interesting because it's showing that the caption appears next to the person that's speaking. And so that's another idea of a solution. But I think what we would be considering here is that we definitely need some directionality or some way to associate captions with an avatar. And if we don't have that functionality inside of games, if we just have plain captions, it's not going to be a good experience for someone that's deaf or hard of hearing, or someone relying on the captions. So I definitely really like that solution from Vacation Simulator. Slide. So this is kind of another dramatic example, switching into thinking about, I think a lot of us that are here today are inside of a Quest or a Vive. There's lots of different devices for accessing virtual reality. And standing up in virtual reality and tight spaces can be difficult for everyone. So as I mentioned, I live in Tokyo. I used to live in New York City. I've never really had the recommended amount of space to use virtual reality experiences. And so this is actually Arizona Sunshine is an example of a game where you are killing zombies, and it's you're on the screen. I have a gun in my hand pointed right at the face of a zombie, and it's very stressful game. And if we go to the next slide, what happened to me, this is true story. I actually had a jar of salsa on my desk while I was playing this game where you're shooting a zombie, and in the real world, I knocked over a jar of salsa onto the ground, and it kind of looks like blood and gore. So when I took off my headset and looked in my real space, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've created something that I was doing in the virtual game in the real world. And I just use this to tell the story that this is an unfortunate reality of a lot of VR experiences, is you get so inside of the experience itself that you don't realize what's happening in the real world. And so in my example, I knocked over a jar of salsa. But what's kind of cool to think about for this is that a seated experience, something that would work well for a person in a wheelchair, this is sort of a design goal for a lot of VR experiences. We should not have to do big movements inside of the experience to be able to get enjoyment from the experience and to fully participate. And so going back to the vacation simulator example from the first example, they actually redesigned that game to make it be able to be totally played from a seated position. So someone could be seated, they might be in a wheelchair, they might just be wanting to sit, at a desk and do the experience. They redesigned the game so that you don't have to reach, 3 feet, 4 feet, move around inside of a space and do it. And so I think that's a really important consideration. And it's like, yes, maybe you can do some cool things with moving around in VR, but from the accessibility perspective, we want to make sure there's always a way to do the operation or do that, complete the experience in a seated position, because some people are not going to be standing while they complete it. And it goes into that idea that accessibility, once we implement these features, it actually benefits everyone. And again, take my example of, you definitely don't want to have to clean up a jar of salsa from the floor. Slide. All right, so our next example, just moving through, lots of examples here, 360-degree video audio descriptions. So if you have Netflix today and you're watching a video on Netflix, now on Netflix, you can turn on a feature called audio descriptions. And this is basically a feature for people who are blind or low vision to get auditory information about what's happening visually on the screen. And so a good example of this was the series Daredevil on Netflix, which is about a crime-fighting superhero who is blind. When that first came out, it did not have audio descriptions. So people who were blind that were listening only to the audio of the video, they could hear punching sounds or hear chopping sounds, but have no idea of what's actually happening on screen. And so an audio description would be like, Daredevil punches man in face, Daredevil slides underneath gate and does cartwheel into another action sequence. So that works in 2D, but in 3D and 360 degrees, we have to think about action is happening whichever direction we look in VR. And so my company, Equal Entry, has been doing work on how do we provide audio descriptions for media that happens in 360 degrees. And the slide right here is showing a scuba diver underwater, and there's a text that says turn around. So visually, the VR experience is telling you you need to turn around to see some action. And so we'll do slide. So this was our proposal. It's an idea of starting from what the default view is inside of a 360-degree experience, and then adding captions for the direction someone can be looking. So right now, this kind of captioning has to be done manually, and when we provide a description for people who are blind, we have to do it live, quote unquote. There's not a way to like record this currently in virtual reality technology and have it played back for someone the same way that Netflix works. So we want to advocate that there should be a dedicated way to provide these descriptions in 360 media. But for now, like what our company's excited about is we can at least write a script of what you should read when someone looks in a certain direction, and that can actually be done live. And we have done some user testing of that with people with disabilities to find out, their feedback. We'll do slide.
Hey, Tom. It's Schmitek here. I'm just forwarding through your slides. It looks like none of the videos are going to play.
Okay.
I like it seems like you have a lot, so I don't know if this is worth taking this a minute or two break for you to go into IRL and tick autoplay on all the slides that have the video. That should fix it. I don't know if that's derailing or not, or if that's worth it. So I just wanted to bring it up.
I did have autoplay tick, so that's why I was like, I was kind of surprised it's not.
Okay, I see. All right. This slides app I'm not exactly familiar with, so maybe the videos don't play. So I'll just listen for your call. So yeah, all right. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you though. I mean, and for everyone's awareness, we really like AltSpace from being able to present slides like this, and showing video in virtual reality inside of meetings is often very difficult. I think today, because of some of the changes recently in AltSpace, I won't be able to show my video examples, but I'll do my best to talk about them and illustrate them. And I believe we'll still have an image
on-screen text
come up.
says,
So
turn
this
around.
one looks like it's loaded.
Hammerhead
Oh yeah,
shark
actually.
swims slowly along the bottom, slowly coming towards you. It bites you in the face.
So I'm seeing video now.
Yeah, I see video.
Cameraman swims over to check on you.
Excellent.
A second diver picks you up.
Oh no!
So that was a little quiet. Most of the other videos are going to be louder, but that video was to show you that when you turn around, you actually see a hammerhead shark coming at you and almost biting you in the face. So very dramatic.
On-screen text says, turn around. A hammerhead shark swims slowly along the bottom.
So this is the shark, and if you didn't get that information,
text says, turn around.
You're really missing the whole point
slowly along the
of the application.
Slowly coming towards you. It bites you in the face.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Underwater cameraman swims over to check on you. A second diver picks you up.
Oh no!
So what I like about that example, hopefully you can hear the audio, is that James Herndon, who was doing the audio description, put some inflection, put some excitement into the description, and the person that's listening to the description has a big reaction, like, oh no, like the shark came at me and was biting me in the face. That's like the whole point of that VR experience. And so without having that audio description, someone that can't see that creation just misses out on that whole experience. So we want to make sure that experience is inclusive. My next example is about this thing called SubPack. It's something you wear on your back, and it is a backpack that can do haptic feedback. And Haptic feedback is basically touch, a way to feel things. And so Beat Saber, I'm just going to hopefully be able to show the next video. We'll go to the next slide. This is an example of Beat Saber being
How do you feel VR with that? Oh, wow, amazing. Feel like you're in a different world, fantasy world.
Ask him, does he think he will get better the more he plays?
Do you think you will become better the more you play? Yes, definitely. The more I play, the more I get better. Play the game.
So this is the second time that Troy's tried Beat Saber. Troy, what did you think of Beat Saber?
Wow, absolutely amazing. As a deaf person, using the sub pack and the VR, I just felt in a virtual reality world that I've never experienced before.
This is Matthew's first ever try.
Fucking insane, bro. Downwards.
Yes, good, perfect.
Right, what did you think of Beat Saber?
This game is wicked. It's out of this world.
Yes. So what I like about this Beat Saber example, probably like a standard thing that you hear from people, they'll say, oh, a person that's deaf or a person that's hard of hearing, why do they care about music, or they don't need to hear music?
Troy, what did you think of Beat Saber?
Wow, absolutely amazing. As a deaf person, using the sub pack and the VR, I just felt
My alt space crashed.
Yeah, mine too.
Okay. So everyone.
Yeah, I think everyone's dead. So, I wonder if it's this little plug-in thing we're using.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to toggle the video to the next slide, and then I think I toggled back and forth maybe one too many times. And geez, I'm really sorry that I thought maybe it was just me that had a little off and onness. But welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the Matrix. Yeah, exactly. Having fun.
It's totally live.
Hey.
Yeah, so everybody might need to set their translation back on, and
Yeah.
Julie or Thomas, if you want to go mute all, we can go ahead. It looks like the slides are back to working. I have
Cool.
the sub pack vibration for Beat Saber Beat Saber for color blindness slide up currently. Is that what everybody's seeing?
Yes.
yeah.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, so I wanted to come back to the first point is a lot of people assume people that are deaf or hard of hearing don't listen to music, don't enjoy music. And what's really cool about that example is it's pointing out that vibration, you can feel the beat, you can feel the momentum, you can experience the music. And that's what I really liked about that example from Beat Saber is the game is rhythm based and turning on that functionality. And so this is something that with that wearable, it made that game very fun and exciting for people who are deaf and hard of hearing. And so that was the video we were just showing. So I want to make sure before we move on to the next example, if you are not seeing captions, we are inside this event testing out a closed beta feature from AltSpace with captioning, and you can go into your settings menu, which is the light blue button with a triangle on it, the large button. When you click that with your mouse or inside of VR, you will have a menu item labeled speech, and you can turn on underneath the speech menu item, there's a toggle button to display and show captions. And so we are asking everyone that comes to this meetup to try that feature out, and we are going to be collecting your feedback and listening to your feedback and sharing that with the people at AltSpace VR. Yes. Now I'm going to talk about Beat Saber for color blindness. So color blindness, at least in the United States, affects about 8% of American males. So it's a fairly large number of people that have color blindness. And Beat Saber has done a pretty cool implementation of making sure that their game can work for people that have red-green color blindness, which is the most common type of color blindness. So this is a virtual picture of someone holding the Beat Sabers in virtual reality. And the game is basically you're chopping blocks that come at you. And we go to the next slide. We should have a video of what the color.
Yikes. That time I was trying to take a screenshot and I had the host tools open. Hopefully it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Julie, I'm not sure what's. I'm fine. Like I say, I haven't seen anybody before.
Thanks, everyone. Sorry about that. We just had a crash again. Sorry about that, everyone.
I'll have to chat with Thomas and see. I can try to skip past the videos. That might help. But I don't know. It seems like whenever a video starts, it's crashing out.
Okay. Thomas?
Thanks. Oh, sorry, Sam. Hey, Thomas.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm just having, I'm forwarding to the next slide, and it seems like whenever a video is starting, it's crashing. So I'm not sure. I could try it again, where I'm sort of trying to forward past a video, or we can
Yeah,
try it again.
let's do that.
Or...
Let's try
Yeah,
like
okay.
forwarding past them. Yeah, I think that's.
All right,
And then
do
if
my
that works, yeah, we can edit it.
Okay, yeah. So I'll try that again, and if that doesn't work, then maybe if we have one more crash, we'll stop using the slides.
Yeah, and I'll just
We'll give it another go. We'll just wing it. Okay,
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for your time. Yeah, so I'll just give me 1 sec. I get this set up. Maybe you want to give the
Yeah.
translations on again.
Yeah, so thank you all for coming back into the space. I want to let you know that we are testing out the beta feature inside of AltSpace today, closed beta, so we're not taking images or promoting this on social media, but we're happy to be testing a captioning feature that you can try yourself by clicking on the large button in your menu. It's got a light blue background and a triangle in it. Underneath that item, underneath that menu item, you have a settings option. And underneath set menu, it's got an item labeled speech. And you can actually on speech toggle on the show captions feature. And that will let you see captions inside of virtual reality for people that are speaking. And we have my slides back up.
Okay, Thomas, I'm going to try to navigate to slide 16. So hang tight. I'm clicking forward
Sure.
16 times. So hang on to your butts, everybody.
All right, I think we will skip the slide.
Okay, so it's either skipping the slides or just having Half-Life Alex slide up.
Yeah,
or
let's
I
leave
can,
that slide up, and then I'll just talk through the last part, and then we can do questions like
okay,
discussion. Great.
awesome. All right. All right. So yeah, thanks for everybody bearing with us. You know, when you live in the future, you know, some things are going to have to get shut off and on again. So thanks for bearing with us. And one more time, let's Thomas go ahead with how to activate the captions, and then we'll go for it. Appreciate it. All your
Great.
support, everyone.
So we are going to turn on captions inside of the space. You can click on your menu button, which is a light blue large button in your field of view, and it has a triangle on it. When you click that, you can go to the settings tab, which is at the bottom of the menu list. And inside of settings, you will have a speech menu item that you can select. Inside of the speech menu item, there's a button or there's a toggle called show captions, and you can actually toggle that on and off. And because I need large captions, I actually also use the caption box size. I changed that to large. The default is small. Great. So thanks again for everyone joining back with us. I'm going to kind of complete the presentation for today just to talk through a couple more examples, and then we'll just move into the question and answer piece, which is exciting for us to try since we're using this cool caption feature. So I want to highlight where we were right before we came back into the space was the Beat Saber color blindness support. So Beat Saber did implement a way to change the colors to be blue and yellow instead of red and green for chopping those blocks that we were showing on the screen. And that mode, what I wanted to highlight is that it's designed, it's thought out. So Beat Saber didn't just like put a filter on the entire experience and turn it, you know, blue yellow. They thought about like the purpose of this game is to smash these boxes on a rhythm, and so they made the boxes like primary part of the interface support that mode. And so it's just interesting to consider that a lot of times with accessibility, people just do the minimum and they don't think about the actual design. And so I wanted to highlight that from Beat Saber, that you can actually tell that they thought about the design, they thought about what people are doing in Beat Saber, and they made the experience work really well. You know, they obviously tested with people who are colorblind and then got feedback on that. This example,
Oh, I can't hear Thomas. Can you guys hear Thomas?
I think Thomas is having a connection issue.
Huh.
So maybe Julie, you just want to just cover for Thomas for a minute. It's probably just he just dropped his Wi-Fi or something. I don't think this is slides related, if that adds any gravitas to the situation.
Okay, thank you. Tell you what, how about we take a break while Thomas comes back, and I'm going to let everybody chat. Oh, I can't turn it off. Just a minute. Ah.
Here, I can help.
Thank you. There we go.
Oh, you did it. Okay.
Finally,
cool.
it went by itself. All right. Be wonderful to practice with the captions again. If you talk amongst yourselves, you'll see the bubbles beside each other's head.
Oh, Thomas might be coming back soon. Oh, he's back.
I'm back. I'm back.
Awesome.
Okay,
Nice one, Thomas.
sorry.
Hi, Thomas. Thomas,
Sorry
we're just
about that.
taking a few minutes intermission to play with the captioning. It may be
Okay.
that we don't have time at the end to do that. So we're kind of hoping everybody speaks to the person on their left or something like that to practice with the captioning. Try it out. Looking for feedback.
Shall we just move to like just doing a discussion and talking about the captions feature?
Sure. How do you feel about that? That might
Yeah,
work better.
that's good for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that then. So this is where, if you have a question, I need to see that you're asking a question so I can give you the megaphone, and I need to give myself the megaphone. All right.
Yeah, so what we could do is, Julie, I don't know, did you want to activate the hand raise or do you just want to kind of go around manual?
Yeah, activate the hand raise. Where is that?
Okay, if you open up the host tools and then the first button up is the host panel, go ahead and click on host panel. And then up at the top, you'll see guests and participation. Go ahead and click on participation and allow hand raises. Then once that happens, everybody, if you see down at the bottom right, you heard a little bloop, and you see the wonderful new hand raise icon. So if you go ahead and click that, you'll get in the queue, and then Julie, you can use then you can go back and use the host panel, and then mirror that person, or sorry, megaphone whoever you wanted to call on. So you can megaphone them. You know, if you know, I don't know if everybody's muted all right now, but it helps. Just megaphone that person, let them talk, and then you can hit the X. That'll get them out. You can unmegaphone them, X them out of the queue, and then you can move on to the next one.
Okay, cool. Paul has a question. Paul, you have the megaphone.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, how can I add a request to get the language included in the translation?
AltVR has a feedback form, and it was going to be on Thomas's last slide. I think it's altvr.com/feedback. I believe it's
feedback.
that
Okay.
simple. Yeah.
I'm also wondering, can it translate from? I guess I'm trying to learn. Like, if a person speaks like English, and they just translate it into a language that I want to have translated into, would that be possible?
Yeah.
Website.
I don't know the answer to this question.
I guess like to learn a new language. So if somebody's speaking a foreign language and I want the English translation to it, then that can help. But that's a question to put on the website. Yeah.
That's a really good comment to give feedback.
Very good.
And I have actually seen AltSpace does have like language learning sessions, and that there are like meetups that happen inside of AltSpace. Like, oh, I want to come and learn English from a teacher. So this would be a really cool feature to augment those like language learning sessions. Who else has a question?
David has a question. David doesn't have a question.
Okay, very quick question. With the auto captioning, is there a way we can actually provide a background to it? Because at the moment it's actually overlaid over the visuals.
we should send that as feedback, because I did notice that earlier when we were testing with the person who was speaking in Spanish. I was noticing that the captions went behind the avatar, and I think right now the answer is that feature doesn't exist, but it may be part of the roadmap, and it's definitely something we can share with the team, or we can give you the link, as Julie mentioned, so that you can share that with the team.
Yes, thanks. Good comment.
Yeah.
Aunt Athena, you have the microphone.
Thank you. The one thing that I did notice with the translation or with the transcription is that if somebody talks for a really long period of time, it goes really long. And then I'm looking down trying to read. I know I can move it because I can move my menu. And if I move my menu, then the whole transcription moves. But then, like, I felt like I had to put it really high to read what was being said in the immediate because it was so far down on the bottom. So I almost feel like it should be less text that we get to see, because otherwise it's already way down there from everything I've just said.
Right there. Now it's up there.
That's awesome. Actually, that illustrates
Then I
the
now I
point.
need to move my menu up so that I can
Yeah.
see what I'm saying, because it scrolls too far. Like when you see closed captioning on a TV screen, it's normally just 3 lines and no more than 3 lines at a time.
Yes. Yes, thank you. I think that's awesome feedback. And I would comment one piece of feedback that we've gotten from our meetup. Actually, the meetup today is Kingston Creates Meetup, and I also have a meetup called Accessibility VR that I do monthly. And one thing that happens in Accessibility VR, we use Mozilla Hubs, and they have a chat feature, but the chat goes away. So one thing that we've heard from our members is, in addition to we want the 3 lines readability, you also want to be able to get back to the history of what was said previously, because maybe you couldn't read it as quickly as it came into the room. And so we've given that feedback to the Hubs team, that our members were like, we want to be able to, like, maybe under a menu item, get to a full transcript or what was already transcribed in the room.
That's a good idea.
Mm.
And Rami, we're just waiting for you. Rami, go ahead.
Yes, I mute.
Yes,
I think I
can hear
mute.
you.
Oh, I can talk now.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, good. Thank you. No, more than that, more than make the caption a little shorter, I think it's a good idea if we put the caption in one spot, because when we move our head, the menu goes with the thing, and we start looking for the captions, and we lose the conversation if we are following just the translation. So I think it's a good idea if the caption is in one spot, not that high, not that low, whatever, or we can move it like some other things and put it on one side. So if we move and the menu moves, the caption stays there. We don't need to move the caption. The menu moves actually all the time. I think that is very disturbing that the menu moves when we move there, because sometimes we are looking for where it is, where it is, and also with the menu for the emojis that moves, and we are trying to look for where it is, up, down, something like that. So if that's going to happen, the menu, the emojis, the raise hand, and everything is going to move as soon as we move our head. If we are in a meeting like this, for example, it's disturbing. It's been disturbing all the time, but I think that makes it even worse. Especially we need to move the caption to a place where the background is dark. So if we move to a place where it's not dark, it's in between. So we are trying to move with our heads the captions to a place where we can read it.
It's almost like the presentation needs to have a dark space on the left-hand side.
Not
so that the
really.
captions
Not
may
really. Not really. On this moment, for example, if I move this down like here and it stays there, I can read all the time. And it's okay because I can see everything and I can read. If the dark part is on this side, I just move it to that part and I leave it there. But if it's moving every time I move my head, there's not a place. It doesn't matter what you do. Put a dark background so we can put that whatever. If that is still moving all the time, that background doesn't help anyway.
Good point. I hope that you'll go to the feedback form on AltSpace's website to give that feedback also. Yeah. The more they hear
Actually,
it.
this is the first time that I have this feature, and I am so excited that this happens. It's very good, regardless of the few things for fixing. That is normal. It's normal. In everything we try, there is something we have to fix. Thank you anyway.
And
for
I just wanted to add on to your comment that for just to give another example from Mozilla Hubs, but there are different platforms for hosting VR social meetups in, and what we do in Mozilla Hubs is we do keep the captions displayed in the sort of bottom third of the slides, and so we keep them in a fixed position with good contrast. We basically do that using an app called StreamText, and we have our captioner paste, content going into StreamText, and we display that in virtual reality, like in Hubs, in one location. And then for people that might prefer to move the captions, Hubs has a feature where you pin you can pin the captions to your viewport and have them move with your head. So they basically have both, like you're mentioning, they have one option where it stays in a fixed location, and then they have a second option where if I don't want to stay looking at that fixed location, I can still pin it and put it in my viewport. So that's a good thing to share, and I can also give that to the feedback to AltSpace. We've gotten good feedback about that in our meetup.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
I do not see any other questions. We have about 10 more minutes. If you'd like to, does anyone speak another language that is on the list of translation options that we could all try?
That would be cool.
Thomas, how's your Japanese? Yeah, we tried the Spanish one.
Roland can demo for us.
Oh, I have a question. Roland, did you have a question?
No, I just wanted to say that I tried the languages last time, right?
Yes.
So
Okay,
I can give it a shot, but don't judge me, guys. I'm gonna switch to German, but I'm gonna do 1 second. So in the spoken language, I'm gonna switch to German, and then on my captions it should show in English. If you guys see captions in another language, that's a checkbox in the speech settings. You have to turn that one on so that you can see the translation of my German in English.
Oh, I don't see German. I see Dutch. Oh, not Deutsch.
Okay. Also sind wir jetzt alle auf Deutsch umgeschaltet?
I don't
see. Funktioniert das? Okay, also ich bin hier in New York. Viele Grüße.
Nope,
Von der East Coast.
not doing that.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Do you have show captions turned on in your setting? Because it's not.
Caption size. Support. How do I show caption?
Under speak.
Yeah, I have show
Settings.
caption. My
You
spoken
do.
language is German.
Yeah.
See captions in another language, English. Okay. Also, wenn ich jetzt Deutsch
Oh, right.
rede, seht ihr, was ich sage? Ach, muss ich das Megafon anmachen?
Yeah, you have megaphone.
Sorry, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Jetzt habe ich meinen privaten Text.
Oh, now it's working. I see it now.
Jetzt seht ihr.
Oh,
Also mit dem
yeah.
Megafon funktioniert die Captions nicht in der Übersetzung. Aber mit meinem privaten, jetzt habe ich so viele. Hallo.
Yes.
Ja. Also wir sprechen hier Deutsch und es wird auf Englisch übersetzt.
Yeah. That looks
that's
good.
working.
Ja, und es ist sogar korrekt. Ich sehe es in meinem eigenen Text unten.
I see Makoto also. Makoto, are you interested to try speaking Japanese to us and we hear or read the translation into English?
Yeah, that would be cool.
皆さんおはようございます。
I have a question.
One
I'm
moment.
Japanese from Tokyo, Japan. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah.
皆さんおはようございます。I'm speaking Japanese.
Ah,
It's
Morning,
working.
おはようござい
everyone.
ます
it's。working.
Yeah.
今日はトーマスに誘われてここにやってきました。私たち日本人は英語を話さないので、いつも言葉の壁に悩まされています。でも、この技術を使うと、その壁がなくなり、より多くの皆さんとコミュニケーションが取れそうなので、とても感激しています。今日はありがとうございました。
No, that's great.
Excellent.
This is fantastic.
Wonderful. Thank you.
どうもありがとう。
I knew what that meant.
Oh. Interesting.
Nice. Wow.
Thank you to this global audience that can speak different languages to try this.
I think Old Fart might have something to say.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
have-
I want to ask how does it work? Takes the text here, it sends it to another service, and then it comes back.
Oh, we don't know. We don't know that one.
It's magic. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a Azure, Microsoft Azure has a service for translation. And so like if you were building an app, you can use the API to send in text and get it back in different languages. I assume that's what they're using, but yeah, we don't actually know what they're using. But that is a cool API that Microsoft has available.
Thank you.
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know how to reach the people in charge of translations? Because what I see sometimes is the translation doesn't match exactly to what the person is saying. I see that most of the time because I have the translation to Spanish. In my case, it's kind of easy because I understand both languages, but for sure, a person who doesn't speak English, sometimes they don't know what you're talking about because the translation doesn't match.
Right.
So I
So
would-
that's one of the reasons why at our meetup we always have human captioner and a real captioner, because often the proper nouns, especially like the important topics that are being discussed, they don't do very well with automatic translation. So I think on two sides, there is a way to give feedback on the quality of a specific translation, back to these companies, but that's also the reality of automation can only do so much. And that's why we also want to advocate to AltSpace that they should have the ability to have human captioners provide the captioning and give accurate translations. Because if you miss words and it's not accurate, people can't fully participate in the meeting. So it's an important topic.
There's
Thank
another
you.
thing also which is involved in that, and it's the volume of the person when they are speaking. Sometimes when they low down the volume, I don't know if it's the microphone or what it's, some words just totally lost.
Right.
Sorry, Lord Eisen had a question, and please ignore that portal. I don't know how to get rid of it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, thank you. Well, like Thomas was saying, it's an automatic service that will translate everything you're saying. But I just realized that when I enable the captions and the translated text, maybe, um, everything that you say will actually be translated by a computer. Of course, a human task for this would be impossible. Uh, so my concern is like everything we're actually saying, whenever we enable the caption or not, is being recorded somewhere. Where does it all lead? I mean, where does all our conversation, I mean, private conversation as well, all is being captioned somewhere and stored. Where is it all going?
That's a very interesting.
And for how long is it being stored? I mean, is it being stored for like a week? Is it being stored for a year? I mean, if I'm having private conversation with my, buddies in a closed caption area, like the private build world, and if everything we're saying recorded and translated like this, and who is storing all this?
That's probably one for the feedback form.
Yes.
We don't know the answer, but those are really good questions.
altvr.com/feedback.
Yep,
Well,
and
yeah,
we have time.
It
We have
built on
time for.
concern because I didn't know that this actually did that. I didn't know that they actually recorded everything you say and translated. Like they have it like text to speech. It's right there. I can see it now. Everything I say now, like shows up, and it's like a little mind-boggling.
Yes.
So we have another question from Alicia. Alicia, you have the megaphone.
Hi, I kind of wanted to jump on the back of Rami's comment. There is no way that automatic captioning can be as accurate as a human. And even when you do have automatic captioning on, it's a good idea to go back, especially for the video or something, and correct a lot of that. That's just the way it is. And I don't believe anyone in this room is actually deaf. Is there someone in this room who's deaf? Because this test is like kind of like a pseudo test unless someone in this room is actually deaf in testing this. Because we're using our hearing personalities to test this. A real deaf person will find more finessed little things that better feedback for alt space because they're actually living that. And so they would have picked up, it is better not to have big chunks of text. Most deaf people, they want to see just a small bit of text and then move on to another small bit of text. Because I do web development, and we've actually seen deaf people testing out websites with the captioning. And also for Lord Aizen-sama, okay. So this same captioning that's happening here is also happening on your YouTube videos and on Facebook and everywhere else. So it's not something new, and we don't know where the information is stored. But you have to weigh the positives against the negatives. And if we all are using this, then there's way too much information for anyone to sift through anyway. And you can, I believe, have the option to turn the captioning off if you want to have a conversation with someone privately. That's all I wanted to say. I didn't really have a question.
That's great.
Well,
No,
thank you
thank
for your
you.
comment.
Thank you.
Lord Eisen, go for it.
Yeah, what I'm meaning is like I don't mind if things get translated and something. That's a cool tool, but you have to think about maybe if you don't have the caption on, maybe it's recording everything you say either way. You know what I mean? Like you think you're having a private conversation, not using this tool like captions enabled to subscribe, but or translate, but everything you're possibly saying is being recorded by Facebook, probably. I
Well,
mean,
it could be Facebook and Microsoft and the government. It could be anybody. So at some point, you just have to relax.
isn't that a little bit? Shouldn't we worry about that a little bit? I mean,
No,
if
really.
you
No.
talk to your private friends,
Yeah.
let's say you share some information about an
Then
account
don't
on,
talk about
on
don't talk
Dropbox
about
or
it in
something.
here. Go find a private beach and talk about it
Yeah,
there.
you can
You're
find a
on
private
public.
beach. I mean,
It's not. It's a proprietary owned platform, and they
yeah,
can do
but
what they
you know what? I did
say.
not know that this application did that. Like it could record like everything you say. I did not know that. Like for me, this is you know worrisome. I'm worried about this.
Gotta read the fine print.
And
Yeah, and
there's
your
a lot of
worries
people
only.
out there that doesn't know that this application actually record everything you say and store it somewhere, and we don't even know where it's stored.
Okay.
Should
All
we
right.
worry?
Thank you.
No,
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm not gonna
But
worry
we'll
about
move on
it.
to the next.
It's in the
Move on to the
release.
next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to read the TOS.
All right. I have a really quick answer to Lord Eisen. If you want to have a virtual space that is private, you can actually build your own Mozilla Hub space with Spoke. There's a API where you can actually host your own AWS server and deploy your own virtual environment. And there you can be in VR, all private and secure as encryption. But as soon as you pull in any API, whether it's from IBM or any kind of voice translation API, then you're going to run the risk of having it recorded and added to a machine learning algorithm that makes the entire experience more powerful. So whether it's being used against you or not, it's making this tool more efficient. So that's where, that's why it would be recorded in the first place, not in order to spy on people, I would think. But, you know, I can be naive.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Thomas,
Thank you.
I wish we could have heard more of your presentations. Maybe we'll have to offer this again. And thanks, Schmidtech, for your technical support. It was invaluable.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
everyone. Thank you, everyone, also for testing these features with us. And please do give your feedback to the AltSpace team using the URL behind me. They'll really appreciate it. The good things and not just the suggestions. Thanks for coming. See you next time.
Thank you for hosting.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks, Thomas, Julie. Awesome job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
It was a very good experience.
Excellent.